Get it?
There you go.
He is the
See,
host of Unpopular Front, and he is the Marxist Manny.
That's me. At Marxist Manny on
Uh,
Twitter.
uh,
Yeah, I'm a nanny and I don't know, left-wing degenerate in
yeah,
Seattle.
yeah.
Thank you so much for having me on. I'm not that degenerate, really. Like,
You're like a nice guy.
yeah, I don't know. That whole like soft boy, nice guy thing has really been ruined by like the past like decade of
bad
just
people. Like,
just people just needing something to describe themselves
Yeah, yeah.
based on, or like
yeah.
that like
Searching
new
desperate.
sincerity thing that happened. That's like the least sincere thing ever. But
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
500 Days of Summer really ruined it.
oh
But
my
like,
god, don't get me started. Don't get me started.
And we're also streaming on YouTube, just experimentally for the first time. So I didn't even announce it to people. So let's,
I
see.
brushed my hair, sort of.
Oh man, you treat us too good.
Yeah, my hairline is a little bit more defined. So
Yeah,
this is my
you look great,
formal
man.
cutoff.
oh, there you go. Yeah.
So anyway, so we were talking about how Ben is a nanny in Seattle, and he is working with kids through this coronavirus crisis, which is just
Absolutely.
hitting everybody right now. So how
Yeah.
is that? Like, what's going on over there?
So there's a lot of aspects of this that are
Mhm.
very very intense right now, because I'm in Seattle, which is, I heard someone describe it as West Coast Wuhan, which makes me feel great.
Damn.
Especially because I had to go to the hospital for an unrelated reason this week. That was fun.
Yeah.
Definitely, they had extra hand sanitizer out. I got my I got my temperature checked like three times just
Mhm.
going to get an X-ray. So
Mhm. That's intense.
but yeah, I think I don't know why exactly Seattle was sort of the place a lot happened first.
Mhm.
I don't know, but
Did y'all have like more?
that's
I'm sorry.
no, yeah, that's sort of beside the point, because I'm a childcare worker. I'm a nanny. I've worked in day cares, done some form of childcare work for about 10 years now,
Mhm.
and have a lot of contacts with folks who work at like more traditional preschools and daycare centers, and
Cool.
they're all working too.
Mhm.
So yeah, I've been working full time still, because as happens in capitalism, you can't stop growing. If you stop doing things, you stop growing, then it's not working.
Right.
So
You need to lay
I'm in
people
a
off.
nanny share right now with 4 parents for 2 kids,
Mhm.
and all of them are working from home, but
Damn.
they still have to do their jobs. They
Yeah.
can't just put their kid in a pack and play and say, Ben, you don't got to come to work today. So I've been in a little bit of a bubble.
Uh-huh.
Thankfully, I don't have to take like mass transit to get to work, but yeah, so I've just been working nonstop with these kids, and in some ways it's like kind of a relief, because I know like for you too, like you have jobs which require more than like 3 people in the same space at a time, right?
Right. Yeah.
So those are jobs that are just like, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah. Like
And
the CDC says, don't do it. And when the CDC finally came around, it was like, we actually have to close these schools,
right.
In the state of, actually Louisiana was kind of early, and Washington was
That's
probably
good.
one of the first ones.
It was one of the first ones, but we also were late in the same way, because we were the ones who got a lot of the spreading first. Like,
Yeah.
they've had to take a bunch of like old like Econo lodges, of course, in the outskirts of town where all the poor Mexican American and Black folks live in the city. Of course, that's where they move all the coronavirus
Correct.
people,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
How dare they take one of those empty fancy condos near the Amazon campus?
Yeah.
But
That's fucking
I
violence.
digress.
That is
the
violence.
showers are too nice there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, God forbid we give grandma with coronavirus a view of Jeff Bezos's balls, but God forbid. But yeah, so we've been dealing with that, and it's kind of weird, because you sort of recognize at a time like this, not to say that your guys' jobs, I actually would think both of your guys' jobs are very socially necessary,
Sure.
I mean,
but sort of
The people need pizza,
like
Scott.
the bare minimum of what like is necessary to sort of just keep the sort of general engine running of capitalism, because you know, I mean, I'm going to out what some of these parents do. I don't think they'll care. Like, we got to keep business consultants and information architects. They got to keep working, right?
Right.
But they still have kids because we live in a society where we still allow people to have kids.
Right.
Allow. That sounds a little dark, but
Oh.
yeah. So I have to keep working.
How much like Wuhan? How much like Wuhan is Washington?
Yeah,
just...
it's a lot. We kiss bats straight on the lips.
Oh wow, that's cool.
We
Y'all,
we are
that West Coast. Y'all are wild over there.
yeah, y'all are going crazy. To be fair,
we are wacky.
I'd probably eat a bat. Like,
yeah, well, apparently
there's like weird cuisine down here because people are like grabbing their pearls, being like, "Oh, the Chinese, they eat such weird things."
I know.
You fucking crawfish.
I've had squirrel. I've had nutria. Like I've eaten like duck and stuff. Like alligator.
Yeah.
Crawfish are basically bugs, man.
Yeah. Crawfish are bugs that you get out of the mud. They call them
I'm pro eating bug.
Yeah.
I saw that movie Snowpiercer. There was that like scene where they realized that all the nutrient bars they were eating was just made of bugs, and I was like, that's the future, though. That's like good. That's like economical and
self-sustaining.
Good for the environment. They're high in protein.
Right.
What's the problem?
Yeah.
That was to scare the people in the front of the train.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, so you were talking about the social necessity of the kind of like those, bullshit business consulting firm jobs that, that have to be done. But the actual social necessity, the people that actually need to do like work all the time, like otherwise the wheels of the society actually do fall off, are a lot of these, care workers, specifically medical workers right now. And I mean, as of right now, also at my school, the only people that are in are the custodial staff. They're going in and they're cleaning up this school. They get paid the least out of everybody, and they're the ones that have to do like venture the end of the apocalypse. They have to venture the end of the world, which is what the sort of like rhetoric around this is. Which I mean, I'm not playing around with it. But they're the ones that have to be there. Otherwise, the place don't run and the world actually ends. If they want to have a school, you need to have custodial staff and you need to have all those folks.
Yeah, no, I mean, the most important people probably in like the school systems in general are, the custodians. And maybe I've heard about some school districts still handing out food to kids because kids need the food because, we have such a broken system where a lot of families can't afford to feed their kids if they have to be at home because, well, wages haven't gone up. Real wages haven't gone up in 50 years,
Exactly.
And people are just kind of stuck in this cycle. And this corona outbreak, I think, is really showing. I mean, you have a Bernie sign right behind you. And I've been a little bummed just because of I have a lot of feelings about it. We don't need to go into my general primary gripes. I've been griping about everyone.
Go for it.
At least in my head. But this crisis happening at this time, sort of as the primary is most likely ending with Bernie not being the nominee and going for the most right-wing candidate that isn't named Michael Bloomberg, it's showing I think that like maybe we on the left, I don't know, like what more evidence do we need to convince people, and that there are these greater like ideological barriers that we can't break through, because I just feel like this crisis in particular, not just because of the universal healthcare aspect, not just because of issues like rent, needing like national rent controls or some kind of policy with that, but also like just sort of the general like necessity of and the lack of respect and material benefit that those who are deemed the lowest
Mhm.
in the sort of labor structure
Mhm.
are getting. Like, I can pat myself on the back being a childcare worker and still working now, because a lot of people, and same, I've been like babysitting more because a lot of folks still have to work at home, but they don't have childcare. But even childcare workers are not at the forefront the way that grocery store workers are.
Right.
I feel like
Exactly. Yeah.
grocery store workers and delivery drivers, especially those who are like,
Now, especially.
yeah, like those, especially delivery drivers who are like, just doing, food courier services and stuff like that. Like, those are the people who are almost always paid the least.
Mhm.
Those are like all these sort of quote entry level jobs. They don't get a lot of benefits, and they're the ones who are on the front lines more than anything. I go to my local grocery store. It's like a unionized store, which I'm really grateful that I get to
Mhm.
go to, like an older, not national chain unionized store.
Mhm.
But there's this woman who I see like every other day, because I go to the same store with the kids that I've nannied for like 3 years, different kids, and she's like over 60 and she's still working.
Yeah, that's
Like,
crazy.
that's crazy. Like, she shouldn't have to do that.
Mhm.
Like, it's like legitimately dangerous.
Mhm.
I mean, I live near this store, and it's the opposite. It's like a kind of local store, but it's like a store that's usually run by like kids from high school, and
Mhm.
now like they're not in school, so they're essentially just working full time, like
Right.
at this
Wow.
grocery store.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, staffed by kids now.
You can't like not be staffed up during the day because it's a school day or something. It's like nobody's at work. Everybody needs
Right.
things, so you just gonna
Yeah.
have to come in all the time.
I know. Well, and like the just I don't know how long it's been for y'all where like basically everything is closed, or like, I mean, things are still open here. Like, I went to the pot shop,
Nice.
because we have
Oh.
legal weed here.
Oh.
And like, well, you couldn't go in. You had to order online and wait outside.
Yeah.
In the coffee shop, you all have to form a line outside.
Yeah.
But
the
it's like
business still
most
happens.
places are closed, except for the grocery stores and the pharmacies are just like these hubs of people, because it just shows how necessary all this stuff is. And
Mhm.
it just gets my like nationalizing
Mhm.
sort of big state commie kind of
You son of
energy.
a-
Yeah.
Like, I'm just like if between maybe they shouldn't take over the local unionized store. They should probably take over like the Kroger chain that we
Mhm.
have here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a real it's just showing, I think, the limits of sort of a profit motive above other interest first
Yeah.
in a moment of crisis.
Yeah.
Like, the government can partner with CVS as much as they want, but it really is just showing the limits of this, and well, just sort of how illogical it is
Well,
at
yeah.
a certain point.
And it shows a fundamental, because the way our society's structured is there's a couple of people in the society who don't do shit, and they have a whole bunch of fucking money, right?
Mhm.
It's just a few people, and they get branded as like geniuses, like Elon Musk. I mean, he's not in the U.S., but I don't know. Is he located in the U.S. now?
I think
he
he's
is.
a California dude.
Okay, well, I knew he was from like South. I fucking fine now. I don't give a
He
shit.
is from South Africa. His dad owned a diamond mine.
Yeah, that's a whole thing. We should do a deep dive on Elon Musk one of these days. But anyway,
Cool guy.
yeah, right. But people like that guy gets hailed as a genius, and Jeff Bezos, who just fucking like exploited the post office and made a website with a marketplace, he's hailed as a genius. And Bill Gates, who just sold computers, and same for fucking Steve Jobs, they just sold computers off of the backs of workers, and now they're just hailed as these fucking brilliant geniuses, to the point where they get so much money and they get so much influence in the society that like they're the ones that is always looked to. They're like a black hole in the the universe, like a mass of gravity. And I swear I'm not even high right now, but they're like a mass of gravity in the universe, and they sort of like when they and it's only in the political structure. In the material, actual world, as to what keeps the lights on, it's workers. It's the fucking workers.
I was kind of looking more into like what Bill Gates did,
Mhm.
and essentially like like people were just like constantly innovating with like personal computers and like doing all this cool stuff for free, or
Mhm.
like they'll sell you the computer and like give you all this stuff. And he was like,
Let's
well,
let's
I'm gonna
privatize
slow
that.
down, like I'm gonna slow down like how fast things are innovating, and let's just trot it out slowly and sell it at every
Mhm.
level, like.
Right.
And that's why he's a billionaire.
No, I mean it is. I mean it's a cliche you at least hear with like socialist people, but like it is like the Microsoft business model. The reason why Windows is so dominant, the reason why we're all probably on Windows computers right now,
Mhm.
is because it's like it's an enclosure of the commons, right? Like
Correct.
we had this common space of just sort of generalized sorry, my cat is trying to
That's
get in and
awesome.
out
We
of
love
here.
cats on
God
this
damn
show.
it.
We love cats.
Here,
Hi, kitty,
I'll be
kitty.
right back. Sorry.
That's all right. So the cyber commons, the internet commons were enclosed, is what Ben was saying, and I'm not sure exactly where we're going to go with that, but like, one of the alternatives to sort of like Windows is Linux, right? And
Yeah.
Linux
Yeah.
is a totally open source sort of framework, but and that's doesn't have the same kind of compatibility on the consumer market. But like if you have these sort of more I guess you could say, dedicated users or whatever of computers, they prefer programs like Linux, because that's
Yeah.
a way that they can sort of share programs more easily, right?
I was
Yeah.
listening to somebody talk about Burning Man, and they were like, "Well, back in the day, if like they had like some cool car, you could just jump in the car, like there was space. But now, like if somebody jumped in the car, like, and they're like, all right, it was $200, or like, do you have a ticket, or like, where's your wristband, or something like that."
Anarcho-capitalism.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
that's what happened. That's my critique of some forms of anarchism.
yeah,
yeah.
it's a
Because
That
like,
yeah,
eventually it's like the Burning Man sort of growth, the sort of the narrative of Burning Man is what can happen if you don't have like a sense of like workers and sort of the community sort of like
yeah.
shared structure, because then it just becomes Burning Man.
I,
You start with early Burning Man, you end with
that's
Burning
why
Man where people like are like glamping,
that's
Yeah.
why I like wasn't ever like big in like anarchism, because like I know it's kind of hard to sustain in a lot of ways. Like anarchism is kind of the end, so like it then something new starts. Like there's always something new, because like
It's like it would
it's
press the
hard to
reset
just
button.
yeah.
kind of, yeah.
Yeah, there are many great anarchists out there.
Oh yeah,
No,
totally.
no.
Don't attack me, people. Just attack Scott. I'm not doing
Yeah.
anything bad.
Yeah, I
Scott's
never.
the one who said he has problems. I think it's great. What are you saying, Scott? Oh my
No,
God.
no, it's fine. I'd never. I'll
You're going
never
to get a
tell.
bunch of black flag emojis
Yeah,
yelling at.
Black
Oh
Flag.
no, it's a running thing on here that I've never told people my Twitter,
Yeah, you should.
and I never will.
You should. Yeah, you're gonna get Robert. You're gonna get Robert all the ads, because Robert runs our show account.
Perfect.
So
There
it's not
you
your
go.
problem
I mean,
until
if you
he
want it,
like
if you want
adds you or something.
anarchist, if you want to let me know, send an email to the email. I will not
Contact
put
at
on here.
goodmoneycomrade.com.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
But anyway, so you were making a point also about Windows, and I kind of took it off when you
Yeah.
had to go and fight your cat.
Yeah. She was being very, very much herself. But yeah, so like the like with a lot of these billionaires and sort of oligarchs, yeah, it's an enclosure of the commons. It's like with Windows, for instance, in that a lot of these, the computers that Windows eventually became sort of the standard operating system on,
Mhm.
it started with they were sort of more open source, or it was this sort of basic like IBM OS or
Yeah.
something, and then it just sort of they put it on it for free at the
Mhm.
start, or
Yeah.
they put it on it, and then it sort of,
Gotcha.
as that happened, it became sort of a built-in necessity, and then they sort of started to restrict sort of what was on it,
Yeah.
sort of what the defaults were, and that's like why we had the big antitrust case in the
Mhm.
90s. And while and this sort of shows the limits of our regulatory system, similar to like the financial
Mhm.
regulatory systems too. It's like, yeah, they're going to be fined, but like it was worth it.
Right.
You know,
totally.
like would you rather have your reputation take a tiny hit, but then be the world's richest man?
Yeah.
You know, like
and it's like the classic begging for not even begging, but like, you know, but like it's like a cliche, but like you're begging for forgiveness and not for permission, right? You just do it, and then you get all the benefits from it, and then on the back end you're like, oh, I'm sorry, that was wrong. I'll make it better. You know?
Sorry, we'll let you pick. We'll like let you like, you know, in certain areas of the world, like in the U.S. I still think like the whole issue around the antitrust case in the 90s was that, you know, Internet Explorer was the default browser. You know, it's like, okay, we'll let you install other things, but we still own the OS. We still like have this default stuff.
It's like the original crapware. Like Windows is the original crapware.
Absolutely. Oh my God. Don't get me started.
Go get started. I love it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's symbolic of how a lot of these different companies and a lot of this wealth is created, and also how it's not very new either. Like, I do think just because of the kinds of people who are our oligarchs now, a lot of them get their money from technology or certain kinds of finance, or like Mike Bloomberg, sort of financial technology. We have this idea that it's a different kind of wealth, but it really is kind of the same structure as has been going on for hundreds of years. I mean, like in a pre-capitalist sense.
Yeah.
Like a lot of these, you know, these like kingdoms and empires, especially sort of in the past 400 years, it's all about capital accumulation anyways, right? So
in England it was like tea, and like the turn of the century it was like steel and oil, but now it's just like technology that makes everything easier.
And the idea that like the capitalist just like does his magic that only he can do to make that, like, so that he can make turn a profit from it. And what essentially they do, and again they do the other thing where they're absolutely ruthless in who they will destroy, you know, or, you know, exploit their workers, or, you know, just fuck over even consumers, right, to the maximum degree. And then they do the self-serving, like Andrew Carnegie, you know, he'll give money to frickin' to like art museums and stuff, and get his name put on it. That kind of tradition goes back to ancient Rome, and it still exists today. I mean, like Bill Gates gets all this fucking credit for giving to education and destroying our education system. Bloomberg and Broad and all these other motherfuckers too.
My wife's high school experience was basically they just said, okay, we're going to take this like second ring suburb high school, and we're just going to chop it up into 4 schools.
Oh, no.
And we're going to do different techniques in all 4 different schools. And we're just going to see what happens. And she and like one of my best friends now, they were there. And they just basically just kind of got fucked.
Yeah.
You know,
and kids are just
because they were in the test one that didn't go so well.
Yeah, they're the rats in the experiment, right? That's what it is. And they don't give a shit about that, but they get all kinds of credit for being these huge philanthropists. But what they're actually doing is carving out these, you know, they're basically writing future history. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what they're doing. They're creating this situation where this great, you know, wonderful man who made millions of dollars doing, you know, changing the world with, you know, steel in Carnegie's case, or Rockefeller's case, it's oil plus like the entire production and transfer cycle and refining process. Like Rockefeller, good Lord. That dude.
It's great.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Yeah, smart guy.
Love Jay-Z wanting to be him. That's not weird. It's not weird at all.
Not cool. But anyway, and then like even now, like the way that we talk about like fucking Michael Bloomberg never did a goddamn thing other than just financializing, turning one kind of money into another kind of investment, putting money in a magic box and have it come out the other side of the magic box with more money.
He made a chat room on DOS.
Yeah,
that was pretty important too, where they could do insider trading. Yeah. Very important.
That's true. What? Speaking of insider trading, or maybe not insider trading.
That's like where a lot of his
money came from. Yeah, hundreds of billions, 60 billion, right? That's
Yo, yeah,
over
no.
60 billion.
I'm not saying he specifically made his money doing insider trading. I'm saying the Bloomberg terminals had a chat function that they used that I'm sure was used to do insider trading.
He owned the roads for the insider black market, the insider trading black market.
Yeah.
He owned the infrastructure by which that was possible, right? Now he can just sort of like hold up his hands and be like, "Well, I didn't do it. I just
it's a rentier.
yeah, exactly.
Like, it's the same as like owning a bunch of land, you know? And I do think, I mean, maybe this is me being really, really just trying to like make lemonade out of this like just rotten lemon that we're dealing with right now. But I do think the corona outbreak is at least showing sort of who has actual value and which sort of principles that were guiding a lot of our politics and our economics around are basically leading towards a catastrophe, you know? And
it's inevitable at this point. It's happening right now.
It's happening. And, you know, like, I'm not sure, you know, there isn't exactly like a smoking gun for this point, but it seems to be pointing towards the fact that like there were tests that we could have gotten from the WHO to do COVID-19 testing.
Yeah.
And a lot of those were available in places like Germany, South Korea, but we couldn't have maybe tried to make our own and like basically, you know, either, you know, undersell and we could save a little bit of money or make a little bit of money or do a
America.
kickback.
They can't possibly be as good as what we can make. We're America,
right,
man.
Exactly. Yeah. Versus like, yeah.
It is weird to see him like the president like undermine this at every chance because like he did all. He like fired the CDC people, like he like tried to like monetize the vaccine. He like didn't take those tests because like they weren't proprietary or whatever. It's just like insane. And then he like goes on stage and he's like trying to crib off Bernie's proposals. And he's like, "Oh yeah, $2,000. Everybody likes that.
Everyone wants $2,000.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I would love it too, but I don't. I would obviously not take it if it meant other people couldn't get. Well, you know, because I'm still working. But
Well,
there is a like the logic of like we need to maximize. Like we need to minimize our outputs and minimize our inputs and maximize our outputs.
Yeah, strip the copper wire.
Logic is just going on constantly.
Yeah,
constantly.
It's like a weird thing where it's like, oh yeah, getting things for free sounds great, but what if we could make people pay for it?
yeah. Like even essential functions. Like I wouldn't be surprised if like the road we go down is we do get these like $2,000 payouts. But like, so I'm thinking of this because the garbage truck is passing. But they started making us pay for fucking garbage pickup or something like straight up instead of having it be a part of our taxes. You know, or they just sort of privatize these necessary government functions that they can just deem like they can just contract it out. You know, and they can basically say, well, you know, this is better because it's a public-private partnership, and also we're lowering your taxes, so you don't have to pay for that on your taxes. You're just paying you're paying a fucking bill. You know, it's the reverse Medicare for all situation, right? I could see when these sorts and this is sort of why I get a little bit nervous when I see these $2,000 payouts. Now, obviously, everybody like it should be universal. So you're saying even if you're working, you shouldn't get it. No, you should definitely get it because that's anytime you you carve anybody out, then that's not going to be the end of it. They're going to continue to carve people out until nobody gets it, or the people that
who knows.
Don't
Maybe if I continue working through this and I get paid $2,000, maybe I'll give Good Morning Comrade some money.
Hey,
who knows?
That'd be sick. You know.
There you go. See
that. And
that's mutual aid, right?
Yeah, that is totally, yeah. Giving the Patreon is definitely mutual aid. Good Morning Comrades.
That's what Peter Potkin was talking about.
Exactly. We love anarchists.
Yeah, I am. I love anarchism. If it's giving money to my Patreon.
No. Let me reiterate. I think anarchism is great, but it's like you need more. It's like
oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I couldn't think, and now I'm gonna make the anarchists mad again. I couldn't think of a society, like a global society especially, which is what we kind of have, that exists with no power structures, right?
Yeah.
Or with without some kind of exploitation happening, or without some kind of marshaling of power. Now, does that mean that it's like, as far as utopias go, there are definitely worse ones in that sort of vision, but and I think most anarchists would actually agree with this. That's sort of like a a maximalist vision and sort of like a anchor for where they want the site to go. And like, I can fucks with that. This is gonna be, by the way, on the podcast feed, so we can curse.
Okay, cool. I can fucks with that as well. With 3 X's.
Yeah.
Not to jump too far in the past about like talking about these big companies, but there's a thing I'm doing this show where I talk about Mad Men because it applies to everything.
Scott loves Mad Men.
But
it's
there's
a
like
good show.
There's this like
I've never watched it.
This is like
sorry, just one quick thing about Mad Men.
Go ahead.
And before you actually say something actually profound, I did one of those celebrity face things. Yeah. I'm always Matthew Weiner, the creator of Mad Men. I'm like his dirtbag son. I don't know. It's weird. Sorry, go on.
His son's actually in that show. He's the weird kid.
Yeah.
But anyway, like there's this like thing where like these people that are trying to like make Madison Square Garden are like, we have to break down old Penn Station. It's like this great building and people love it. And you can't like, it's like one of a kind. And like all these newspapers are like, don't do it. Like, and like there's such backlash and they're like, we got to try to let people know that we care about their things or whatever. We just want to build something cooler in the future, like, or something like that. We really need to get like a dynamic campaign. And he's like, Don Draper's like, why? Just like tell them, just don't give a fuck.
Man,
like,
bullshit people. Right. Instead, it's way easier to just bullshit somebody than intend to actually change the world and make it better.
Like just don't pretend to care.
Yes. Yeah. That is actually the cold logic of the ruling class.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Just everything is act natural and make the fucking and this is the thing that I'm also seeing, and like I'm a teacher, right? And I'm seeing that to the extreme that we've pushed like teachers and educators, so that like when people are out on this kind of like we're technically on administrative leave with pay, which is
right.
God bless, we're lucky to have that. But the people that are at home, doing quarantine stuff, the sense that I gather is that like, oh no, we need to be doing something. What are they going to be doing about standardized testing? What are they going to be doing about teacher evaluations? What are they going to be doing about this and that and the other thing? To the point where everybody feels like even when we're home in this crisis, they have to freak out because they don't know. And again, they're freaking out about the thing that I'm not freaking out about. So maybe I'm the crazy one here. But like my analysis of it is like, man, you need to be inside your house and like with your family to make sure that we're not, and you have enough food to get like a week at least, stocked up so that you don't have to like be running to the grocery every 10 minutes. Like I'm not really worried about, getting my grades in on time at this time. I'll do it. I'll definitely try and do it. But like, it's not, but the way that we've sort of like, put those kind of workers and workers in general under this sort of like top down, lean on situation kind of like promotes that atmosphere. And maybe the reason I see that is because I haven't been in teaching for like more than 5 years. Maybe if I was in it for another 5 or another 10, I would sort of like get that brain. But
right.
And I feel because I'm one of the few people. I'm not going to say I'm like the only one or whatever, but like I'm one of the few people that kind of like behave in that way or that like think in that way. Like I'm the crazy one,
Right. Yeah.
I'm like gaslighting myself.
I mean, aren't teachers, especially in public school districts that have really gone hard into the sort of, I guess, education reform movement that at least was very, very big at, a decade ago, and are still sort of dealing with those ramifications.
Yeah, we're at ground zero here.
Yeah. I mean, totally. Yeah. I even was, when I was in high school, they were starting to do a lot of that stuff. Sort of, I was on the forefront just because George W. Bush and Rick Perry were my governors.
Oh no!
And, yeah,
that guy.
And oops. And it was like I could see sort of just after years of that, there's like an anxious psychosis that I think a lot of different jobs have, where you sort of you're you start to hear a certain voice in the back of your head a lot, you know.
I should
like
be doing
I would
something
hear
better.
that in daycares all the time, you know. Like it wouldn't be about standardized testing, but it would be about our stars rating, or our different, you know, our early achiever score or whatever. And then I would just constantly, I couldn't be present with the kids and actually present doing the work, because I would be thinking, oh no, do I have the correct number of manipulatable toys for 18-month-olds versus the correct number of books versus the correct number of other kind of dramatic play items.
It's just another fucking rubric that they use on you. It's just a different criteria for the same fucking thing, right? It's just a bunch of rules that you have to kind of like check all these boxes. And if you're technically doing the right thing, then the sort of logic is that you're doing your job well, you know, because you can have that many fucking toys or whatever and be doing an awful. You can be watching fucking the Brady Bunch or something while the kids are, you know, fighting one another with knives, you know.
Which I recommended. They were the toy kitchen knives, but I would still be
look,
like,
kids got to learn how to fight.
Right.
They're gonna fight anyway. You might as well give them toy knives.
I was
never been in a fight, by the way, so I don't know.
There's always like
Soft
jobs
boy.
they want to like monetize every like ounce of your time. Like if you're there, you need to be doing.
You got
like,
you got time to lean. You got time to clean.
Yeah, you got time to clean. Like stuff like that. Like I was in the military, and basically you're on call forever. Like the only excuse is that like you're always kind of on soft call, and like even you could be like on harder call where you can't like get drunk and all this stuff. But like if you're on call, like people could just call you at the middle of the night and be like, you gotta come in. Something's going on. You gotta come in. Like they'll do like these things called recalls where you don't even know what's going on, like some accident. They gotta get accountability. Like I was in this shit for 8 years, and I was never stopped flexing that entire time. Like like constantly, and just like your only real excuse is that like if you're drunk, you can't come in. Like
so gives you an incentive to get drunk, doesn't it?
Yeah, you have to get drunk all the time. Like
get fucked up, man. You're making a bunch of alcoholics here.
And it feels good when they call you and you're drunk and you're just like, nope, can't do it. just like dopamine high.
They probably put that in a little fucking notebook though, called drunk, you know, and they start like having that in your fucking record.
You absolutely got a permanent record.
I did want to ask this about the military, because you might know, maybe you don't, but do you know if they're activating people at all, like due to this fucking catastrophe? You don't know? Okay, that would be interesting.
They have like OPSEC stuff now to where that like people would not put it on Facebook. Like,
that's so totalitarian, man.
Because when you go to like a base and stuff, like all your people that you work with like start friending you and stuff, and it's like why am I freaking friends with these people on Facebook? And then like if you say something wild, it like comes back. And
community
like
discipline.
This is why I'm independent. Yeah, I can imagine that would be really, really hard.
It's kind of like Insidious.
Yeah, you never really leave. It's kind of sounds like the mafia.
Yeah, it's bad.
It sounds like Hotel California, man.
Whoa.
Hey, if you're all at home, I don't know if it's streaming anywhere. Great time to watch the Eagles documentary, History of Eagles. Best rock documentary of all time.
I don't know if
I've never seen it. I actually don't know the Eagles. I just know that line from Hotel California.
I hate their music. Never been a fan. It's sort of like the moment when hippie music became pure corporate trash.
Now you're gonna get a bunch of mad tweets from Eagles fans.
Bring it on, dude. Y'all should be used.
Yeah, I'll deal with the anarchists. You can deal with the old boomer.
I will cut off your ponytails personally, bro. All right.
But go on. I'm sorry.
No. It's like one of the greatest documentaries. Period. Much best rockumentaries ever. Because they just kind of let them be themselves, and they're all the most pretentious assholes. They love themselves so much.
They're just like all that guy from the Beach Boys who just like went right wing hard.
Kind of, yeah. I don't
Brian
know.
Wilson.
It's funny. Their politics are like okay. They're like the kind of boomers who just became like real like anti-nukes, which is good.
I'm against them too.
Their issue set is like kind of stuck in like maybe 1982.
Save the whales.
Yeah, exactly.
1982 in like upper middle class. or rich?
Oh yeah, they are the music of the petit bouge, no question.
Yeah.
Yeah, small
question.
business tyrants love the
Yeah.
Eagles.
Take it easy, but not my workers.
Yeah.
I'm taking it easy.
You know
You
who's-
got to work so I can take it easy.
All right.
I want to live life in the fast lane while
Okay.
you are stuck working extra.
Yeah.
Y'all relax. I have the perfect like avatar of that like group.
What is
Jimmy
it?
Buffett.
Yeah, no, Jimmy
Yeah.
Buffett is actually like the ultimate petty bouge
Mhm.
music,
Yeah, like-
actually. Even more so than the Eagles. Just the Eagles are more funny to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's like very much like dressed like you don't have anywhere to go. Like dressed like the guy who like
you got one of these shirts on.
just like the guy who lives at the bar. Like just like maybe has a boat. Like
Oh,
like
yeah.
really loves summer, but like also clock in at your corporate job where you
Yeah.
make like 8 figures.
And also, his kids don't talk to him.
Nice.
Oh,
Or
really?
they only talk to him for money. That's probably the real truth.
Oh,
But
God.
no, but seriously, watch the Eagles doc.
Okay. I'll find it.
It's like
on
almost.
Netflix?
I say it's even better than Some Kind of Monster, which was my favorite rock
Metallica?
documentary of all time. Yeah. it's
Oh,
so
okay. I gotta get a list of these because
I don't know.
Great.
I
Were
never
any
saw
of
that,
y'all?
but
Were any of y'all in bands?
no.
Any-
No,
Oh my
I was
God.
never in a
We're not
band.
musically inclined.
I was
Okay,
in the high
yeah.
school marching band. Does that count?
Okay, that's
Oh
not
yeah,
the
you
same
did. You
because
played the clarinet.
I played the clarinet.
that's cool.
I could still probably.
Oh
I
my
mean,
God,
it's
you
been
played the
years.
most. You played the most Jewish instrument. I can say
Ah.
it. But klezmer. I wish they had like a klezmer marching band. But
Mhm.
but the thing about Some Kind of Monster, and if you've ever been in a band, it's just crazy the idea of going to therapy with your band, because when you're in a band for like more than like a year, you just kind of, it is like being married, you know?
Yeah.
And you kind of start to like hate each other sometimes.
Mhm.
And you just, because you're just so locked in with each other, and they are just, some of those personalities are just incredible.
I mean,
so
yeah. So Lars
in
Lars
particular.
stands out to me in particular, and like I've not seen this, but like just remembering like Lars with the Napster thing way back when.
He's a heavy metal
He
dude,
was
Buffett.
yeah,
Yes.
he's Metal Buffett. That's right. He's a
Yeah.
Generation X Buffett is what he is.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
Buffett for Generation
Oh
X.
my God. Yeah, it's so good. It's so good. Those are my streaming picks of the week, people. I've been recommending these two documentaries to
it.
people for like a decade. But
You know what we did? So we're recording this and we're streaming it on Saturday. I can't remember which day it is anymore, but it's Saturday.
it's the 21st.
Last night, I kind of like hosted because I'm going stir crazy here, right? Like me and my wife and my dogs and cats are hanging around, and I love them all, but we don't have any kids or whatever. But I just kind of like tried to put up a Zoom karaoke night, and we started playing
You
around
mentioned
with
that to me.
and we ended up me and a couple of my friends watching the video for November Rain. And just wow, just like that is just an amazing, like the get ups and the looks. Like Axl Rose with this freaking like orange cream suit with a matching bandana in these Harry Potter ass glasses is just a great like.
All right, I'm standing by this. It's something I remember from that video. Axl Rose jumps off of a what is it called? An aircraft carrier into the sea.
I don't know if that was. I don't know if that was November Rain, but I do remember that Slash was at the wedding with his big ass hat on. He had a white shirt unbuttoned all the way to the bottom, but tied. He had a gold chain with a cross on it, and then he had his fucking sunglasses hanging from it. I'm like, damn! And then he just goes out and shreds in the middle of the desert.
He was
man.
He was dressed like
that was so much fun.
The mix between a rapper and Marianne from the Gilligan's Island.
It's perfect. Hey, Slash is one of the great Jewish rock stars. Don't take him away from me.
No,
I'm actually annoyed you mentioned he was wearing a cross.
Oh yeah,
Come on,
damn,
dude.
Look,
It was a
Rep
fashion
the
cross.
family.
he
It's a
erased
fashion cross, it's
himself.
true.
Yeah, fashion.
Yeah,
cross.
why are you racing yourself?
And by
buddy?
the way, Slash's hair is a thing of absolute fucking beauty, man.
Oh
like
my
that
God,
dude.
yeah.
Oh my God, like the locks from like God, you know.
Oh no. He is when I first heard the story of Samson, like a big tough Jewish guy. I probably just thought of Slash. His long curly hair. the God.
He didn't have a jawbone. He had a guitar.
Yeah,
Oh
exactly.
hell yeah,
That'd be a good rock opera.
man! It's,
There you
yeah.
go.
Or if we can get like somebody to animate like Bible stories, just like plugging in rockers and shit.
There you
That
go.
would be great.
From the Torah. Excuse me.
Joseph's
That's-
Technicolor
I beg your
leotard.
pardon.
Yeah. There you go.
The book. Let's just call it the book.
The book. I don't really care.
I'm just
No, I'm like not religious at all.
Oh yeah.
But yeah.
we grew up, me and my brother, lapsed Catholic. Like with most people in New Orleans, either you're Catholic or you're lapsed
you're
Catholic,
lapsed, yeah.
or you don't like live by the city. You know, like
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess that's probably unfair. There is a lot of like Protestants and like whatever, but yeah, it's a super Catholic city, especially for America. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, for sure. Which I have to say, I appreciate, because I've decided that Protestantism is actually probably the worst religion in the world.
Oh, it's the worst.
I really don't. There are certain parts of it that like maybe historically it's like, oh, I guess I would have been rooting for Martin Luther, but
Yeah.
much less, after that it just gets kind of ridiculous.
So
Yeah,
here's the thing.
They're like the Eagles. They were like, oh yeah, we represent this like protest spirit, but
Yeah.
like we're very much in charge.
Well, the Protestants.
Well, and there's a like there's a parallel with a lot of the sort of like
Yeah.
ethical and spiritual ideas that ground a lot of like mainstream Protestantism and ground a lot of the most psychopathic like capitalist in the world,
Yeah.
right? Like
Jimmy
when I think
Buffett
of, like,
posted the 97 thesis.
exactly.
when I think of
The thesis of Margaritaville.
Whoa.
when I think of Protestants, though, especially like early Reformation Protestantism, especially when they had these like little like sects of it, like these Anabaptist types or whatever. Like when I think of them, I think of anarchists. Like I cannot help myself, and I
Right.
think of the Catholics as like the ultimate statists, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they
Yeah,
took
yeah,
over
yeah.
the frickin' Roman Empire from the inside. They basically are, they're the ones that like won reforms through the Democratic Party or something,
Right. Yes.
And then the fucking Protestants are just like, we're gonna take over tiny cities and just like implement totalitarian government in the end.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's such a bizarre. Yeah. The history of that. I actually do think there's a lot the left can learn from non-political, for lack of a better term, organizations and movements. And I do think like things like early Christianity.
Yeah, they were anarchists,
Protestantism. Yeah, like there's a lot we can learn about that. And the thing that I always seem to come back to is, and this is why my Twitter account is Marxist Nanny and not just Ben the Nanny, is that it is like it sort of fits within that like Marxist idea of sort of the material structures creating what the ideology is.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these things, they have ideologies and these different theories and these ideas about sort of the nature of humanity that seem to be counter to what it actually happens. And it's because those movements sort of they shape themselves around whatever the power structure of their society is. They're not creating the power structure.
Yeah.
They're a reflection of the material realities of that life.
For sure. Like the society reflects the form, and the form reflects the society, I suppose, and the structures. They kind of like they interplay with one another. But like the one thing that tells me that Jesus was not an anarchist is the like, Peter, you are the rock on which the church will be built, essentially saying you're the foundation. And that's like, we're gonna build up from there. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Like, this guy's not an anarchist at all.
No. But it's but even you just think about how the church went from being just like a bunch of persecuted poor people. It was a religion, in like the early Roman times that like was very popular among slaves and women.
Yeah, totally.
And then it became the most hierarchical, power-centered, very patriarchal religion, right?
Extremely efficient and extremely powerful too.
Exactly. Which is like the opposite of its original like draw.
Yeah.
So it sort of shows that that the power, those who held the power, made it into something to reflect their own needs versus maybe the essence of the stuff. And that's why I'm That's what
you're
happens.
not even with the religion. No.
Yeah.
I was
Well,
sort of
I
also
am.
yeah, of course. Like everybody, like we were talking about tarot cards earlier, and that's even if you don't believe you're even if you don't believe it or whatever, you're entertaining the ideas, which is basically functionally at least sort of like dealing with their existence, and that it does matter,
Yeah.
whether or not like, if you're doing this and if you're sort of like messing around with these things, it's cool. It's whatever, but it does have an impact. And does like you talk about it, and things kind of spur off from that. I don't know.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Super last thing on Catholics from me. So Scott and I, we had an aunt die she was like 100 years old, right?
Oh wow.
And we went
Literally.
like literally, she died at 100.
Couldn't grass to her for making it that
Yeah,
long. That's
I know.
huge.
But so
One of the greats.
she died, and we went to the first Catholic mass I'd been to in like 15 years, and I got to tell you something. Them Catholics can get through an agenda. Like DSA,
I know, right?
DSA should be learning how to do meetings from fucking Catholics.
Oh yeah, there's like
Don't get me started.
there's like they know how to get their shit in, like wrestling terminology. Like, they know how to
Yeah.
get their shit in. Like
Yeah.
like bang,
people are getting
reading.
bored. You think you're just like bouncing your checkbook? We got another
Yeah.
thing. You got to stand up. You got to kneel down. You got to sing a song.
Yeah, keeping you busy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Keep that
Exactly.
blood pumping.
And plus, the singing is good. Like singing is good. I like
Mhm.
I like singing. That's why I
Also,
like.
I
karaoke.
think the cathedrals are a lot more beautiful too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
then-
mean, yes, it's about a 2,000-year-old pedophile ring, but
Yeah.
yeah,
well, that's a
the art's
problem.
good, and also
The art's good.
the in a sense the iconoclasts are also kind of anarchists.
Yeah, right.
Historically
Yeah.
speaking.
Yeah.
Anyway,
No, it's a jumble. It's a jumble, which
Yeah.
is why it's interesting. That's why older institutions are interesting, right?
Yeah,
Because
totally.
they have all this ridiculous baggage that is completely counter
Mhm.
to all of its other things, and then it's counter to that thing, and
Mhm.
then
and
I'm
then
not done with Catholicism just yet.
all right, and relationships with churches to states, like historically, is also fascinating because there were
Mhm.
like in Rome, especially after like the Catholics and Constantine, the religion became like inseparable from the state in a certain sense, right?
Right.
And that
Mhm.
transcended all the way through. I mean, the split and the sort of like Orthodox and all this other crap.
oh yeah,
But I mean, it's just sort of like that's how state and religion became married for forever in the world, and it cannot be separated. Not at least not in the so-called Christian nations or
Yeah.
Christian
That's what
history. And
That's when we made it to the big time.
mhm.
yeah. That's why Islam and Christianity did so well, right? They had
Yeah.
state power.
Yeah,
Which is something that I think maybe some people on the left should think about.
Yeah.
Actually,
they actually accumulated a lot of fucking power.
yeah,
Yeah, it's 100% true. And man, we can. I mean, I unfortunately I can't speak so well of the sort of like the Muslim nations and the caliphates and all of these other like extremely impressive historical forces in nations, but like. That's where algebra literally just came from.
Yeah.
Algebra just came from the what was it, Umayyad Caliphate?
one of them,
Yeah.
Umayyad, Abbasids, one of them. I
Yeah.
don't know.
I don't know.
I'm as a Jew, Moorish Spain is like the coolest place in the world.
Oh yeah, my friend
because
Jenny
it was like growing up in like a very interfaith family. It's
Mhm.
basically it's like the closest thing we had to like an Abrahamic interfaith, like
Mhm.
empire in the medieval world. So
Mhm.
Yeah. Plus, like all that stuff where they were at war for like 500 years and stuff.
yeah,
Weren't they like at war like for a long time, and like even the Christians weren't like united and all this stuff.
oh, I mean, yeah, there was a ton of different like
Yeah.
Well,
Which
I don't know.
which hegemony sort of like prevails is the sort of the question. Is it state hegemony or
Mhm.
like religious hegemony? You know, and you can always sort of like
philosophical.
find these workarounds and justifications for it. Now back to Spain though. My friend Jenny, who's guested on this show several times, she's Muslim and she has her own show. Shout out to Noah Matters Islam in the Crescent City, which I've guested on several times as well.
Cool.
She has traveled and like seen all of this like these spots in like more Spain, and oh my god, she's got pictures posted
Cordoba.
her section,
Yeah. It's
unbelievably
amazing.
beautiful art and unbelievably beautiful mosques and stuff. It's it's wild.
Yeah. I went to Cordoba on my last family trip before my parents got a divorce, and it was the coolest place in the world.
You went out with style. They went out.
I went out with we really did. We went to like a classic interfaith kind of place that was like Catholic shit, Jewish shit, Muslim shit, and then we went home when my parents got a divorce. But it wasn't because of the trip. The trip was great.
Yeah, totally.
The last ride.
My last hoorah. So yeah, I'm wondering, how are y'all feeling about the? I mean, it's hard. I feel like it's crazy to talk about the election and politics right now because it's all just corona. But like, I don't know. How are y'all feeling about it?
I'm not convinced Joe Biden's running for president anymore. I haven't seen him. He hasn't said anything in like a week.
Well,
very conspicuous by his absence.
I saw a headline that said he's setting up a live streaming thing at his house.
Oh my god!
It's gonna take him a few days.
Okay, so I do have to watch I have to watch Joe Biden's fucking Twitch channel. That would be so great.
Exactly. Oh my god.
Because I mean, like, if anything else, like if Joe Biden were to like win, which it looks like is gonna happen, at least like the end of the world will be fucking fun because we have a bunch like two like doddering old fools that are like completely
maniacs.
like if the world's gonna end, at least it's gonna end in an extremely stupid way.
Joe Biden. I want to see Joe Biden's Let's Play with like solitaire.
It takes him forever.
Yeah. Why is there 3 cards?
Yeah.
What's this?
I'm ticked off that
Listen
these
up,
kids,
Jack.
Yeah, these kids aren't playing
clubs.
Nobody knows how to play backgammon no more.
Yeah, exactly.
What happened? What happened to Hearts? Huh? We don't play that anymore. Huh? What about some gin rummy?
Yeah. It'll be. I don't. Yeah. I don't like making predictions like this because it's like pointless. But I kind of think he might like have a medical issue around the time of the convention, and they'll just like nominate Kamala.
Yeah.
Like I really think that's gonna happen.
That would suck too.
I think they're just gonna like wedge somebody. I mean, they have to. Either they're gonna get somebody as his VP, which is obviously gonna like die.
Yeah.
Or like they're gonna do some shit.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm wondering what's gonna happen. I have more gripes about Elizabeth Warren than I think maybe anyone online does right now.
No.
Well, which is a lot because a lot of people have a lot of gripes. I don't know if she's like trying to do some power play with that, but I don't think they would like switch out Biden for her. But I don't know.
I think the
Democratic Party is just a fucking mess right now.
I think they would do the thing that would fuck the left the worst, and the thing that would fuck because they hate the left more than anything. Right.
Their purpose. I've never seen the Democratic Party work in concert better and more efficiently than to stop
the left.
to stop Bernie.
Yeah, I mean, like
ever.
Biden, basically, the only reason that he had any kind of chance in the frickin' primary is because everybody just lined up right behind him. They just closed ranks behind Biden. So he didn't get support because he had ideas. He had support because he had a network of fucking political patronage, right? And that's what happened. And they basically just like they saw, okay, he's winning. Line up behind him, and fucking Pete Buttigieg and Amy Klobuchar, who had both been like, they had historically like surprising victories. Just was like, you know what, I'm getting the fuck out of here because we can't let this Bernie win. But the thing that would fuck the left worse would be Elizabeth Warren, though, because it would split the left from the libs, and I think that's what they're gonna do.
Well, I mean, I think that's kind of what happened.
It already has
in the primary. I think there's a lot of rewriting of history that's happening right now. I'm seeing a few things. There are the two candidates who I'm most fascinated about sort of a retrospective on. It's not Biden, it's not Bernie, it's not even Pete or Klobuchar. It's Bloomberg and it's Warren.
Yeah,
because I think
real monkey wrenches.
People aren't, I think, recognizing their functions. They're taking their candidacies on face value without looking at sort of the other forces at play. With Bloomberg, everyone has been saying, oh, he got humiliated. He wasted all this money. He didn't get what he wanted. Bullshit. He
Yeah.
got exactly what he wanted.
Yeah, there's a
What
reason
he wanted
that is
was
a reason he spent $750 million to run for president
of $1
and bail.
billion.
That's what. Yeah, $750 million.
No, they said recently
Yeah.
that it was
wasn't
like 900
it wasn't to
million.
be president.
No, he wanted.
Yeah.
That is less than he would have paid in taxes had Bernie become president.
Exactly.
But you were
Exactly.
saying, I'm sorry, but you were saying that he was successful, and you were
Yeah.
making a point that I just totally bigfooted. I'm sorry.
No. I had an internet connection thing, so
Oh, okay.
I moved. My internet's weird, but yeah, that he got exactly what he wanted, which was to stop Bernie, which was to stop any kind of resurgent real left.
Yeah.
A working class led left, very important if you're going to talk about the other candidate who I think we are misunderstanding, which was Warren.
Yeah. What is her function, right?
Her function, I really think, at least maybe not on purpose, but in practice, was to make sure that there was a split progressive wing of the party, which I think means very, very little, honestly. Just progressive is such a broad term.
Yeah. It's a
and
catch-all.
it is not a there isn't like a root to it in the way that there is even with something like being a moderate or being a socialist, right?
Yeah, no.
Because there is no like defined class character to it.
Correct.
That is really important. And I really think, I mean, I don't know if I want to go as far as some people, they call her Wrecker Warren, but I do think that, well, okay, yeah, maybe, but at least functionally, that's what happened.
That's exactly, I agree with that 100%.
People have been getting way too caught up in sort of her intentions.
That's a matter,
and even in her messaging.
Yeah, that
even in her
least.
policy set. It's not just about that.
Yeah, what are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing? What is your presence doing to the movement and to the people who are pushing for this policy set? It's not just about the personality. And I think it's super, super, super telling how basically all the people I interacted with around Warren, their appreciation of her campaign, their reason to support her was because of her. It wasn't because of a policy set. And it wasn't because of a certain sort of vision or a certain idea. And
because on those grounds, she's less
really
popular.
Dangerous.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That is called a personality shit, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's really dangerous. And I'm really saddened by it because I guess maybe I was a little bit bamboozled, at least for a few months about it, at least until the summer.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how we talk about it. I was talking to a guy online who's been on my show a few times, Brendan Gallagher, and he was saying that we need to not be critical of Warren, the person, because she's still a progressive senator in comparison to the rest of the Senate, and that we have sort of people still like her. And I mean, I guess that's true, but there's this dynamic where I feel like we're constantly trying to be too nice to the sort of richer progressives. That's kind of what it comes down to, right? It's like they're hiding their class interest in other constructs, you know?
That's a fair point. And I think it's important to acknowledge them. I don't, and this is one of the things that I keep that I'm in the minority about on this show and in general, right? I don't know how much good and attacking like people or their personalities necessarily goes. It doesn't pay off. It's not. It kind of serves to get like people to reactively be like, "Oh, you're just being too hard on them," you know?
Right.
And that. I mean. I don't disagree, but like when people start to say like Bernie should be attacking Biden, I'm not sure that helps him, and like Robert, one of our co-hosts, disagrees with me, and I talked to all kinds of people, and they disagree with me too. I just don't know if doing that like would help Bernie to win. It might actually be a reverse thing, but I mean I'm gonna hold this ground because it's just what I see. And at least for now, and it's worth at least discussing because I just sort of, there's dangers in that, and I think that's one of the things about that approach that's being kind of like left out. You know what I mean?
Like, Bernie, like, attacking these people, he's not going to gain anything. He's only going to lose stuff.
They're just gonna basically, and again, they're gonna do it. I guess they're gonna do it anyway, like with the Bernie bro narrative and all this other crap that doesn't make any sense, because everybody online's got fucking jerks posting. I mean, have you seen
people who?
Have you seen my Menchies, folks?
Yeah. Like, I mean, the idea that there is a uniquely, aggressive or uniquely, I mean, gosh, hateful, or like, I mean, they don't use this language, but like the implication is that there's like a uniquely reactionary cultural, milieu among Bernie supporters, which is just bizarre to me.
Yeah.
The only reason why there's a lot of it is because he's popular.
He's popular. He's popular, and he's actually a threat to the status quo as it exists, right? That's why those things pop up. These things that aren't even political. They're not even they're the least material things in the world. And I just don't like. And when people sort of like say like, well, Bernie's eyes glaze over when he's making a material argument. Well, he's really fucking popular, man. He's really fucking popular, and like start swinging at people, just changing up the entire thing that he's ever done his entire career for 40 freaking years,
right?
And then just sort of like throwing
I've never heard this eyes glaze over thing.
Like so basically people get bored by policy and substantive stuff. Yeah.
He just sort of has the same shtick. He's had the same shtick since the 80s.
Yeah, he's had the same shtick. But I mean, he's talking to people. And people like when he talks to remember after the election when Bernie went to like West Virginia and started talking to coal miners and stuff like that. Or if he does these like little intimate town halls where he talks to somebody who like lost their health care or whatever, people, when they see it, which isn't that often because none of it's really on the main media, but when they see it, they actually just like, oh shit, that's me, and that is the sort of like the center of the whole not me us thing,
right?
I mean, I think anybody who listens to that and is bored by it really doesn't like identify with those problems.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think that's a huge part of it. There's just it doesn't, his sort of approach doesn't really work, I think, for certain kinds of people because they're already comfortable and because they sort of view politics like a TV show.
Yeah,
exactly. It's like, he's talking about healthcare again.
Yeah.
Again.
Or like, God forbid, in the debates when he tried to connect issues, they would always be like, we're not talking about immigration right now, we're talking about climate change. We're not talking about economics right now, we're talking about healthcare. We're not talking about environmental degradation, we're talking about race. It's like, motherfucker, if you can't connect these things, and it kind of makes me think that like the purpose of siloing these things, like there's a functional purpose to it.
I mean,
and it's a way to.
It's almost like we have a couple huge problems instead of a bunch of little problems.
Yeah, don't these people believe in intersectionality?
No,
you know what I mean?
There are some critiques of that, but
I guess my point is like the definition I'm using is these issues overlap and they intersect, right? And but that's definitely sort of like an intentionally flip answer. I don't know how much time you have. I don't know if you have to go or anything.
I got a little bit of time.
Cool. I just didn't want to I want to respect your time because you've been so generous and like I'm really enjoying this conversation.
Yeah, man, totally. Whenever y'all want it, it's hard to get me when it's not on the weekend because I have a very set evening routine.
That's cool. That's awesome though. That's a good thing. I probably need some of that in my life, especially right now. Like right now my structure is just like the structure of my life is basically like cleaning my house, hanging with my wife and my dogs and cats, playing video games, and getting on Zoom calls and talking for several hours. That's what like post-apocalyptic life for Jeff has been.
I mean, I am definitely going to be hopping on a Zoom call with a friend who's like, baby, I'm going to start nannying soon. That I was supposed to be hanging out with them and bonding with them since they've been born in January. That is kind of my weekends. Yeah. So I hear you.
I understand. But the I don't know, the election right now, though, I guess, is just, to me, it's
on hold, kind
well,
of.
no, well,
Yeah.
it
Well,
wasn't. It
sort
wasn't
of.
on hold last week. When on Tuesday,
like-
when they
Right.
just held all these fucking primaries,
Death
they wanted
cult.
they want it off of the front page.
Yeah.
Like the Democratic
they want
establishment
it to be done.
wants it off of the front page, because when you don't have it sort of like spiking and on the but this is actually an opportunity. When you have it off the front page, that means that, everybody's talking about coronavirus, Bernie needs to get out or whatever. But guess what? If Bernie pulls an upset, which is no given thing, that is a huge, like, they have to cover that, right?
Yeah.
They can't bury that with coronavirus if, like, one of these, and I'm not even saying it's likely, it's definitely possible. But if this did happen, that means we have, like, if this can blow if that could blow coronavirus off the front page for like a day, people will take notice and be like, wow, and it might actually look at the number of delegates. And maybe I'm
Right.
being wishful and hopeful or whatever, but
Maybe a
like,
little.
but I'm saying if that were to happen,
Yeah.
then it would be just a total game changer.
I mean,
Right.
Because Bernie's not that far behind in number of delegates, is he?
Yeah,
No.
I think after the death cult primaries on
That was brutal.
Tuesday,
That was brutal.
that was really fucked up. And honestly, I mean, yeah, I think that proved your point, though, right?
Yeah.
That because they're so desperate to get this over with, and I
Yeah.
think partially because they learned the lesson from 2016 that Hillary's ego and her like her need, not her, the Clinton
the network,
organization,
the entire thing.
the network, because I don't want to personalize these groups too much, because
Totally.
it's way more than just the individual.
Yeah. The status quo that supported Hillary Clinton is the same status quo that's supporting Joe Biden right now.
But the difference is that they had a different strategy this time, because the last time they, as it really helped Bernie that it was just her and Hillary in like 7-8 debates, right?
Yeah.
That really that gave him a bigger platform than he's ever had, maybe ever will, honestly. And it allowed there to actually be a clearer sense of sort of the wings of the party for the first time. In at least my lifetime.
Yeah,
and
totally.
They're basically trying to make sure that now that it's just two people, that it gets wrapped up quick.
Yeah.
And that was, I think, that was sort of
Slam
the
the door.
functional purpose. And this is why I thought everyone who was playing along with some fucking Yang bullshit, Tulsi bullshit, Warren bullshit, Pete bullshit, Klobuchar bullshit, all these fuckers, it was always Biden versus Bernie.
Yeah.
They were by far the two most known candidates. There was no way these other candidates were going to break through. They were purely there to rope a dope and distract and basically taunt other candidates and to sort of create a spectacle.
Take the attention off of Bernie. Just take the attention off of Bernie and take attention off of like
Biden.
the Bernie Biden. Yeah, well, definitely try and take the attention off of Biden, because he was just making a fool out of himself and bleeding from his fucking eyes and shit.
Yeah.
And saying things. He still says things that don't make any sense. But now they just kind of like they've just buried him in a subterranean, locker or something. He's in an undisclosed
he's setting up
location.
his Twitch.
Yeah.
I think
Calm
it's
down.
Kind of purposeful what's going on, because like if you see what's going on in the press, like the Democrats are doing terrible. They get destroyed.
Yeah.
They're like trying to get him as far away from like all that like miserable press as possible.
They want him away from brand Democrat for sure.
Yep.
Which is the stupidest thing, because that's his base. Like,
but if he can sort of like the Democrats that are already Democrats are already going to vote for him. But if he because the idea of what the Democrats want to do is make him they want to appeal to this mythical independent voter. That's what they're trying to do.
If only there was a candidate who actually really polls incredibly well with independents and is himself an independent.
Yeah, and young people.
And young people. And I don't know, maybe the community that has been more terrorized by the Trump administration than any other community in the country, the Latinx community. Just saying.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm crazy.
Yeah. And we know that these boomers, not even necessarily boomers, but like these 65 and old, I guess that would be qualified as boomers, but like the older people in our society, they're going to vote for whoever the nominee is, no matter what. So that doesn't add anything to Joe Biden. Bernie's bringing all these fucking people in. Maybe it's not enough to upset the Democratic establishment, but he would still be a better candidate because he would have a huge platform to make those kind of connections he's currently making, and he would also like those old timers are still gonna fucking vote for the Democrat.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of weird stuff going on because you're hearing people being like, "Oh yeah, Bernie, he finally did it. Like he finally drug the party left. You could finally get out, Bernie. You've done it."
What, the Republican Party? Is that what you mean?
Good job. Yeah, good job, Bernie. Or yeah, the whole like this thing is Biden, Marcos Malitzis, who admittedly I used to read Daily Kos all the time when
everybody
I was a teenager.
Everybody our age did.
It's weird. It's
kind of embarrassing.
Super embarrassing. It's so embarrassing. But there was the slight tangent. The way that the net roots, sort of web roots people like reacted after Obama became president, I think actually radicalized me more than Obama.
Yeah.
Seeing all these fucking like
horrible
lickers. The second that they have a Democrat in office, they're like, no, actually the Iraq war is good. Like, what the fuck? The whole reason I read you was because I hated the Iraq war. But but like seeing like Marcos like saying that that Biden is going to be our most progressive nominee in history.
Oh my God.
Because of this, like this idea, and this is something that I think maybe people in 2016 we should learn from, is there was a lot of talk, Bernie stayed in a little bit longer than maybe he had a chance to actually win, to try to get leverage for the platform, and then also this Unity Reform Commission, which if you follow Miki Consta's work, she was on that commission. It seems like a lot of that work has kind of just been thrown down the shitter.
Especially with this crisis.
Idea, or like
it was done before, but now it's just like, oh yeah, we actually don't need to pay attention to that because we got a party to run. We don't have time for that bullshit.
Exactly. The moment they can have some kind of crisis to say, all right, we have to throw all this away. But this idea of what does the platform say, it's insane to me. Who cares? The platform is not going to affect the political will. The platform is not going to like it's
only
such
nerds care about that. That's the shit.
It's such a consolation prize to me.
Like that's the thing that only like that's the shit that makes people's eyes glaze over. That's the stuff that makes people just like, I don't give a shit about like what the Democratic Party line is on Medicare for all. They say they're for it, but none of their fucking candidates are for it, and there's no discipline mechanism to make them comply with it. Then what's the fucking point of it?
Right. I might as well just say, like if I had $3 trillion, I would end world hunger.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, sure. But I don't have the money or the political will to make it happen.
Yeah, exactly. You're not trying to build it either. You're just saying like, I want the thing. You're making you're drawing a wish, a list for Santa Claus.
It's less than nothing.
Yeah,
they're almost like trying to play on our anxieties. They'd be like, listen, we just got to get rid of this guy,
making you feel better.
Everything will be great. Everything will be good. Like we could just do a lap and we'll be doing brunch again.
Oh, and look, we wrote it into your platform, the Medicare for all. It says it right there. Now, Joe Biden said he would veto Medicare for all.
Yeah,
but it's in the platform.
In the platform, it says Medicare for all, like 3 asterisks, and it says we actually mean the Affordable Care Act, and by that we actually mean less than what the original Affordable Care Act was. But
who's ready to pay penalties for not having insurance?
Yeah, exactly.
We're gonna punish you for being poor, buddy. Here we come back. Here we go again.
Buddy, it's a punishment enough.
The left's relationship to the Democratic Party is something I've been tanky curious the past few weeks. I'll just say that for sure.
You've been what? I'm sorry, I missed
tanky curious.
I've been
a little bit more. I mean, I'm not full on Maoist, but I am definitely like a little bit more like maybe not. Tanky is not the right word. It's really more just like something along the lines of like what we have here. Like we have like a real socialist alternative, like elected official in the form of Shama Sawant. We have a few other candidates, in local government who are not as inextricably tied to the Democratic Party, which is a luxury that I have living in a in a very Democrat city, right?
Mm-hmm.
That we're not being held hostage by them as much.
Yeah. So like my vision of the sort of like movement, the only way that this can sort of like happen is if you have a force that sort of like walks astride like inside and outside the Democratic Party. And I'm learning that like really quickly because I mean, I've been actually experimenting with like some of these local offices and things like that within the Democratic Party, just to sort of like, because I think we need to know what the hell it is and how it works and how it functions. And in the Democratic Party, like as it is now, not necessarily like the destruction of the name of the Democratic Party or whatever the fuck, right?
Yeah.
But like,
we just want the apparatus. We don't really care about the institution or its history. We just want the power.
Yeah.
Right?
And the other thing is too that sort of like apparatus isn't going to kill itself, right? It's not going to change itself if it's not like addressed from the inside and the outside. It will just continue to perpetuate. So we need sort of like a multifaceted approach that I mean, and it's got to be centered, in my view, because I'm a fucking labor bro. It's got to be centered around the unions and workers and sort of
totally
building
100%.
it. I mean, obviously, I mean,
100%.
Any good Marxist would tell you that, right?
No, I mean, the fact, I think this is a big part of my critique of the Warren campaign, even partially some of the Bernie campaign, especially in 2020, I think, and I think the online left especially. We don't. This is not. I'm not going to go stupid poll on you or whatever that thing is, but I do think there is a dynamic where we denigrate workers and we denigrate certain
the Sam Cedars book, Blame the Electorate.
Well, I mean, kind of, yeah. Like, or that we certain like that there are certain sort of ways that we talk about politics and issues that we tend to focus on that we don't center in those people's working experience, that we center in a sort of you're a particular identity group, so you're being victimized in a certain way. That's incredibly disempowering.
It's carving up the working class. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it carves up the working class, and it's like almost biologically deterministic.
Yeah.
Like it's closer to TERFs than these people I think would like to admit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It keeps the world static in a lot of ways.
That's a sharp comment that I'm if anybody listens to this, they might get a little their hackles up on that one. But I definitely agree though. Like it's sort of like it is like one of these things. I mean,
we just need to be mindful of that. I'm not saying that obviously there are tons of experiences that people will have that are very unique to their identity groups. No doubt.
Mm-hmm.
I just hope that we can still be able to allow ourselves to center our analysis on the connections between these different groups, because that's how you win. I want to win something for these people. I want to make sure trans people have health care. I want to make sure that they have jobs. You know,
I think that can. Go ahead, Scott.
It's a lot of bad like communicating that idea, I think, because people will just be like, you need to shut up about that. Like we got a thing to win.
You can't just tell somebody to shut up about identity politics just because in a certain sense you're just going to piss them off, right?
Like
And
saying that is the first step to like ignoring them completely.
Yeah. I think, I mean, what needs to sort of happen is we have to address the sort of like situation as it is. We can't be dismissive of the way, I guess, that people think. I mean, I guess we can in certain parts, but we sort of like find a ways to sort of incorporate all of these things and step like marching in the same fucking direction. Right.
Yeah.
And that is actually the project the left needs to be doing if we're gonna have. I sound like Adolf Reed over here, but like that's what we need to do. And I love Adolf Reed. I'm trying to get him to come on the show. For a while, we just kind of like things kind of blew up with this coronavirus and with the. But I got emails out to him, and I know he lives in town.
Oh right, yeah, totally.
Well, he lives here in like Chicago and like Philly. I don't know if he still stays in Philly, but that's where.
I know he's from there, but I mean it's one of those things it's a really hard struggle, but it's important that we are not afraid to, at least, especially in a time of rebuilding, which after the Bernie campaign, I feel like the left is going to be continuing in a rebuilding stage.
You got to take stock.
That we find ways to build this power sort of in that, like, in the model that the Bernie campaign was trying to do, that they couldn't push over the hump. The whole multi-generational, multiracial, multi-identity working class movement, which was like the tagline, really, along with not me, us. We have to find ways to do that now in a local level too.
A broad, I mean, like, the idea, the entire perspective is to make things as broad and as inclusive of everybody as possible.
Right.
And that's the whole project, right?
Right. And it's finding those universal struggles that we have, that then you incorporate those individual struggles within the universal struggle,
within that
right?
framework. For
I
sure.
mean, it's hard. This shit's hard. Like, it hasn't really been done super effectively in the past. You know, we're trying to make it work.
Yeah, and what needs, I mean, one of the things that I also see that needs to happen, I'm not going to, like, say I have all the, I know exactly, Dictator Jeff has, like, all the best ideas, so he's going to reorganize the left single-handedly or whatever. But sort of like
No, it's going to be Dictator Scott.
Yeah, Scott's going to do it because he's nicer than me. But the thing that I'm going to, and he's funnier than me. No, he's not.
Better at pizza.
Yeah, definitely. He makes better pizzas than me.
Got you there, motherfucker.
But, damn it, I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, but what needs to happen is we need to find like the way that, and DSA could be a part of this, and sort of like programs like yours and ours and other ones can be a part of it as well. But there needs to be places where people on the left who don't agree can talk to one another and listen to one another without just like throwing that entire line of thinking in the garbage. Right? Because that's what ends up happening on Twitter.
Exchange now. We need to be okay with being wrong.
Yeah.
Like, who knows? Maybe some of the shit I just said was wrong.
Oh, a lot of the shit I say is wrong all the time.
Yeah. And, like, finding that, but, like, I mean, it's really hard, though, because we have all these other institutions and these structures that we live in, these communication models and stuff that sort of encourage us to be strident and encourage us to think that we're right because that's the way that the market, the better marketing to us. So there's a lot of dynamics going on that are really, really challenging.
And not to harp on this too much, but, like, the way that I can, like, determine, and this might, well, actually, this is, call me a class reductionist or whatever, but the thing that I can tell, like, whether or not somebody is talking to me in good faith is their material position. If they're a fucking middle manager, business owner or whatever, I know I can't fucking trust you and how we're talking just because of the way that, just the place that you're positioned in our society, right?
For sure.
And that would actually not even, I would say that's even a sliding scale. Right? I mean, I can talk to like contractors. I can talk to somebody who, like, works at the small business they own that employs like 15 people or whatever. I don't, that's something I could understand. But there is a line by which, like, ruling class brain takes over from working class brain, and that's sort of like that's the milieu where the line is, and I want to get as close to that line as I possibly can. And the only way, without like, without like working with the enemy, I suppose, I want to get as close to that line as I can to bring in as many fucking people as I can and do that while advancing the project. Yeah. And as power develops, you can basically push further,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's understanding that and recognizing that is very important and very hard. Like, I sometimes don't feel comfortable talking about politics with the my, like, nanny parents because, well, they can afford a nanny.
They can afford a nanny, and
there's
plus,
probably some stuff that we will disagree on.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, again, there's a power dynamic too with the people that you're working for as well, right? Which is why part of workplace organizing is so difficult. Yeah, because the boss is fucking there. Your boss is there, and if they find out what you're up to, they're gonna try and stop you, whether it's legal or not, or whether they're gonna try and stop you if you're organizing the work. So, I mean, you do have to be, tread lightly and be aware of these, like, power dynamics that are imminent and exist. I mean, this sounds obvious, but I mean, I feel like sometimes obvious things need to be said out loud.
Yeah, well, we need to remind ourselves. Going back to we were
Mhm.
talking about like the going to like a Catholic mass and how they got that shit on lock.
Oh
Like
my God, it's
they're
great.
repeating a lot of the same stuff over and over and over again.
For sure.
So
Absolutely,
we need to do that too for our self.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
All right. Well, I do have to go pretty
right, cool.
soon.
Well,
but this has been so great, guys. Thanks so
Yeah.
much for having me on.
Yeah, we should definitely.
I've basically only spoken to the nanny parents and my wife for like the past 2 weeks, so it's nice to talk to someone else.
It's good to hear your voice again, man. It's been a long. I mean, other than the podcast, it's good to like talk with you.
Yeah, for sure, man.
And
on my podcast, like disappeared for months
Yeah.
because my life was happening.
Yeah,
So,
and now your life's really fucking happening, right?
yeah, tripled.
So, I mean, we can definitely, if you ever, just want to find some time, just, chat it up. We're always here.
Yeah, sure, man, for sure.
But yeah, take care, man. Really appreciate like all that you do. If you like need anything, let me know. And
yeah, for sure. Yeah, if anyone hasn't heard already, just go to unpopularfront.com for the show, and it's on like iTunes and stuff. So yeah.
And follow him on Twitter at Marxist Manny.
That's me.
Yeah.
If you're ever in New Orleans and you want a pizza.
Yeah. No, my wife and I have been talking about going to New Orleans. It's like the only place in the States that we actually want to go. So like we will probably go there in the next year. So I will hit you guys up for sure.
Fuck yeah. Well, cool. Well, you can listen to Good Morning Comrade on WHIV FM on Tuesdays, as long as we have the world, I suppose. As long as the I don't know. Like I'm trying. Like I'm not trying to freak people out, but I also want to acknowledge the impermanence of everything.
Yes.
You can also like the actual stress the society's under. Like I'm feeling that right now, and like maybe I'm being like Chicken Little or whatever, but I feel like things could be coming down more than we think pretty soon. But anyway, you can check us out on WHIV FM on Tuesdays. You can also check us out online, goodmorningcomrade.com, Facebook, Twitter, Patreon at Good Morning Comrade. Also, you have Patreon?
I do, yeah. It's just patreon.com/unpopularfront.
Yeah.
I don't really plug it very much, but
shoot Ben a couple bucks if you can. I mean, that's one of those things. We need to help one another out. And anyway, so thank you.
I feel guilty because I don't have any bonus stuff. I only subscribe to Patreon things that have bonus stuff.
Whatever.
I'm such a little piggy.
It's fine. It's fine. I mean, like, and that's the other thing that I just not to keep you on any longer than you can be, but like I do want to sort of like alleviate some of this sort of like this guilt that working class people have for like doing things that they enjoy. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because I don't know, we all need to like. I sound like I'm like advocating just for like self-care, but like again, you need to just do shit for fun. You need to be able to enjoy yourself. Yeah,
eat some chocolate.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean,
watch 90 Day Fiance. I love that show.
Don't do that. Yeah,
90 Day Fiance. Y'all should look it up. It's a great show.
I mean, I got some time to watch it, but
you should watch 90 Day Fiance.
Yeah, but anyway, like, and I actually said this on an interview I did with a fellow teacher the other day. But like, one of the things that Jerry Springer of all fucking people said is be kind to yourself and each other every show. And I'm like, Jerry Springer is totally problematic, but that's one of those sorts of things. And I'm just like, you know what?
I love it.
Do be kind to yourself and do be kind to one another. Anyway,
the mayor of Cincinnati is not wrong.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah, he fought a bear.
Yeah.
Wait, Jerry Springer fought a bear?
Yeah, he was like a real carny of a mayor.
Oh
like,
yeah, of course. Every mayor's a carny, man. If you're not a
mayor,
mayor, if you're not a carny,
he would do straight up carny shit like fight a bear.
That's awesome.
Did he win?
I mean, he had a show on TV.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. He
I
won.
think if you lose against a bear, like that's it.
You put yourself in a situation where you can't lose. That's smart politics. That's smart.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks a lot, Ben. Appreciate it,
guys.
Yeah, and listen every Tuesday. Goodmorningcomrade.com. Love you. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, that was great, man. It really is good talking to you. It really is.
Absolutely.
And I was doing some repairs.
You were doing repairs, like while we were on the phone, on the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, were
you
you like
picture Gundam.
stitching?
Me
doing some knitting, Jeff?
Me, I was ripping the sleeves off this shirt and then I put it
on.
Oh,
okay. Sorry. I'm such like in my little like comfy hipster abode. I just assume everyone's like knitting.
Well, I got that chair right there, which is the comfortable chair, but it's hard to control the show while you're not while you're in the comfortable chair.
Oh yeah, lean back.
Uh-huh.
All right. Well, I am exporting the audio thing.
Cool, bro.
GMC 321 1920.
Yeah, I do too. Still.
And I keep on writing 19 on my podcast files.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh boy.
All right. Oh, I will send that to you, and you all have a nice rest of the day.
Cool. I got it on this end
right.
already. You don't need to send it, I don't think, unless the quality's bad. I'll let you know.
Okay. Yeah. Well, cool. I'll have it anyway. So
cool, bud. All right. See you soon.
All right, man. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.
That was cool, man. That was good. Ben's a good guy.
Yeah.
We are still on YouTube, but we could probably sign off. Or I don't know. I kind of am zoomed out in a lot of ways, and I have another call tonight. So, and you should definitely be a part of this too. Wes, who is he used to work at Tulane, and he lives in Japan now. But so we can talk about Sentai. No, he covers like disasters and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. This is Wes in Japan. I follow him on Twitter.
Yeah, Wes is a great guy. And he's Wes in Japan. Yeah, follow Wes at Wes in Japan. We have a call with him scheduled for Jesus. Let me see here. For like 7 tonight. So we can ask Wes if he wants to go live for that. And if then we might be popping back on the feed. But I'm gonna go like get something to eat.
Yeah, let me know.
I'm starving. Let me see here, Wes. Because it's Japan time, so it's gonna be all fucked up. Your 6 is my 8 a.m. So 6 o'clock tonight, Central Time. Check us out. I might put a couple tweets out or something. Maybe we can get Robert to do though. I have access to his account. I can do that. So anyway, yeah, check us out. Talk to you later. Love you. Bye. All right, man. But yeah, Wes is a good dude.